Hi guys, so this is a tank that I set up, and what it is, it's set up on the principles of the Walstad. There's no dirt in the bottom yet, but the whole premise of the video, I recorded all the video, and we're in a confined space here, and there was a lot of footage that wasn't usable. There was well over an hour's worth of footage. So the premise of the video is, what I wanted to do was show you, a lot of people on the internet are banging on at the moment about setting up an ecosystem aquarium, and they're saying get stuff in, but they're not explaining to you what to do or why. So what we've done is, over here, if you watched my last video, we were talking about the recycling plant and the engine of an ecosystem and the 4 key concepts. Now I'll put that video at the end of this so you can just click on it and watch it, but this is that's the ecosystem engine. This runs the ecosystem, it absorbs it. It's all deliberate. There's CO2, which releases the KH into the water, all these plants. So if CO2 is limited in this system, these plants can use the carbonate hardness in the water as a carbon source, so they can carry on growing, inhibit algae growth. And then we've got Amazon salt over here, and they're planted in soil, so we can start putting more and more pots out. And so rather than having to go and spend like £500 on plants to set up the tank and dirt it all, and then you're creating an imbalance if there's not enough soil in the system. So you can just add the soil bit by bit, and you can add plants bit by bit, you can grow them out, and then eventually you can take all the sand out there, the tank, and cap it, and get all your plants that you've grown out in, and you've got a fully established ecosystem, natural Walstad style system. So there you go guys, that's the premise of the video. Hope you enjoy it. What's going on? Fish room's a mess. I've got tons of stuff in here for this project right now. I want to show you something. So the last video got me thinking. I was talking about how expensive the Walstad method was for me to set up. It was like a tank like this was like hundreds of pounds to buy the plants, and I thought, well, hang on a minute, you know, everyone's banging on the internet, on YouTube, telling you get rid of your crop tank and get a natural planted tank, and dump sand in. No one explains why, no one explains what to do, how, like. So I thought I'll do a video and show you how to convert the tank step by step, because the amount of plants realistically that you can buy right now, or I buy, isn't enough. You kind of, when they get to the point where they have grown out enough that where they should have been in the first place when you set up the tank, then time for the tank to go, kind of thing. I love a good reset. It's not really realistic to go out and buy like £500 worth of plants to set up a tank. So maybe we start off and we take our traditionally cycled aquarium and start turning it into a natural planted tank, like a Walstad tank. So let's jump in and I'll show you what we can do. So you've got this tank right here, we've got a bit of algae going on. It's healthy for the system, isn't it? So what I'm thinking is, it's got a sand substrate, we'll keep that for now. We'll start playing around with it, and I might want to incorporate a few things that I learned along the way, along the years. So I've got my bag from the fish shop. Bang, I've got plants. Now these plants, I didn't buy these ones by accident. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up an area of stone. I'm going to get it all set up. Now floating plants, or I mean stem plants, they don't really need any soil as such, so we can get them in and get them going without soil, because they feed from the bottoms of the leaves and they feed in the water column. So got some nice looking plants. I've got some other cool stuff I want to show you. Crenum, natans, boom, look at that. This is what I was talking about in my last video that no one really seen, is look, it's been chopped there, and it's compartmentalised the leaves, but it's been chopped, so it needs a set. We've got snail's eggs all over this already. The snails are cleaning it up. They'll clean all the rot off and all the bits and pieces and get it looking good. And this is an absolute unit of a plant. I've never had one of these. The leaves get about 4 or 5 foot on this, so I'm excited. I'll get back in the plant. What I've been doing, I'll show you this. So I've been dosing this stuff. I don't know whether you can. So this stuff, basically, I know people bang on about don't put chemicals in your tank, but what it is, it's an algae stroke seaweed, and it releases all sorts of cool stuff into the water that will promote root growth, and will improve the health and start making your plants absorb nutrients out the water. So it gets good spread of leaves go in and roots, and you can get it set up and get it growing. Helps it, like obviously it's had the shock, so it's in a negative energy state, like I was talking about in my last video, and we'll get it in a energy positive state using this stuff. It'll start absorbing nutrients, throwing out roots, throwing out leaves, start getting itself balanced in the tank, and it'll be good to go. So let's crack on with this tank. What I'm going to do is pull all these out. We've got some Copa Caroliniana that can stay in there just because it's there. We've got, I've never known the name of this plant, but I'm assuming it's Ludwigia repens. Now Ludwigia repens, this isn't going to be in this setup by accident. I want a new life for this. I might get one of them Hygge ones that's like supposed to be like a Fluval 3.0. Right, let's go. Boom. Wow, look at the roots on that. The Copa. Obviously, as I say, these are all structural roots. They're not really, not for absorbing nutrients really. They absorb nutrients through their leaves with their root stem plants. That's how they're adapted to live. Survival of the fittest and all that. So it's another Walstad hack we can abuse. Let's get some cereal stone. Now we're not using cereal stone by accident. I'm not using this by accident. I say I want to get a better light on this tank. I want to try them Hygges, which is supposed to be like a cheapo Fluval 3.0. Not supposed to be as powerful, but hey, we're doing low energy, aren't we? So I can hardly reach this. This isn't going in by accident. This releases KH into the water. Now, let me tell you a little Walstad hack. Let's get that out the way. So I've got a bag of fine pea gravel here. Fine pea gravel. And what we'll do is we'll throw some about. Give it a nice so that's gone really cloudy. See, now when you're buying substrates from a shop, from an aquarium shop, you're paying for it to be pre-cleaned. No, that's not pre-cleaned. It's a bit naughty if you ask me. So we'll let that settle. If that doesn't settle quite quickly, then we'll do a water change on it. But the guppies, that cereal stone is going to release hardness into the water. It's going to release KH, GH, stuff that these plants love, and it'll get them going. Right. There was no superhero pose. Remember talking about wet sleeves, guys. Wet sleeves. Love wet sleeves. Means we're doing something exciting. Right. So let's. I'll leave this to settle. If it doesn't settle in a minute, I'm going to have to do a water change. And that's going to be no easy feat because I'm going to have to set all my hoses up. So I'm going to show you another hack. So we're going to get our little plant pot, and you see it, and then we're going to put 2 centimeters of dirt in here. Oh, look at all that nice mycelium, stunning. So all I do is stick my finger in, If it's 1 inch, it'll come up to your first divot, and then you want to put to the second divot on your finger with a sand or gravel cap. Remember 3mm, guys. 4mm even. 4mm is ideal. So let's cap it. I mean, that's going to fall off. It's not. That's I mean, it looks a lot worse on camera than it does in IRL in real life. Maybe if I whack the filtration on for a bit, it might help. But Amazon sword, baby. God, I love Amazon swords. Wow, there's more than one plant here. Look, there's a baby shoot there of Amazon sword, and then there's the mother plant. So let's get them going. You want to put your finger down. I can feel sore. And then what you can do if you want is trim the root off. You see that? In she goes. There's still a bit of root hanging out, so finger it down. And what you can do is you can trim around this if you want and then lower it, but I mean it's only temporary. We'll set this up and then our next tank we can proper Walstad, can't we? See that box in the corner, guys? I've had a chef's knife under that and I can't get it out. There's like a massive dollop of you can't see the box in the corner at the moment, can you? No. But there's a massive wow, that looks so much worse on camera. There's a massive dollop of what you call it underneath, silicone, and it's pushed right down so you can't get anything under it, not even a chef's knife or a cake slice or piano string, all the old school tricks, you can't get them. So we've got our Vallisneria now. That doesn't look so good on camera. What we can do with them pots is we can plant crypts around them and stuff, and some more heavy root feeding plants, and then we can grow them out, and then we've got plants for our next. As I say, this is just like we're starting to convert them. The next, all we want to do is grow these plants out, and then we can once everything's grown out, we could dirt our tank and go full Walstad, and we'd have all the plants ready to rock. But we can just add plants week by week to this, can't we? Or month by month. Every time you get a paycheck, payday, go out and buy yourself a couple of nice plants, off a floating plant, stem plants. Where are you going, sausage? Come back here. I can see that and you can't. I'll show you a clear picture in the end. What say, all you're doing is grabbing it by the roots, pushing it right down, pulling it up a little bit, and then you're done. This Vallisneria is tiny. That's not going to go in there, it's hitting a stone. Remember when you're doing projects like this, like Dustin's fish tank says, hide the women and children. Because if you get a pissed off wife, you get a pissed off life. Still what I was after. Look at that. Now this gets banged on by the high-tech planted tank community, doesn't it? Everyone mocks this plant. It's amazing, this plant. So let's get this planted up. Now what I'm doing here is I'm planting them around loosely. I mean, you can plant them in clumps if you want, but do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to cut them in half. I'll tell you why now, because we'll have twice as many and they'll be twice as easy to plant. So, I've got some scissors here. So I'm just going to chop them in half. And then there'll be twice as many to plant and twice as easy to plant, and there'll be. So these aren't heavy root feeders, these are feed from the leaves. Basically the tip of your stem plant releases oxygen, which inhibits any growth behind it, but where the leaves are on these plants, see there's two there. So what's happened is, where you got two leaves here, there'll be little buds in there, and then when the tip's on, it releases oxygen, because this bit's like, I want to be a big plant, so I'm going to have to stop all this piece of plant becoming a big plant. So you cut that, the oxygen stops, and then there's little tiny buds in here, and then they start becoming stems because they're not being inhibited, and they're like, right, I want to be a big plant now, and so they're off. So as I say, the reason why we're doing this with these plants in particular is because they can use carbon. See, the reason why we're using these plants in particular is because it's a Walstad hack. The CO2 is a form of carbon. It's the biggest nutrient that plants use to grow. It's CO2. So now these, although it's more energy intensive, these can actually use the KH in your water as a carbon source. So they don't need CO2, so it's another Walstad hack for you. How cool is that? So it uses now it's more energy intensive, so but like, if you think about it, if these are still growing when there's no CO2 in the tank, it's stopping algae from getting going. I'll say there's a prime example there. Stem split there, and we've got two shoots. Now plant that down. And notice the way the foliage is thicker above, because it's got apical dominance, and it's the oxygen's inhibiting all the stuff underneath, and it's probably getting less light. So the bottom of the plant's weaker than the top. That's why we prune our plants, to keep everything healthy and growing actively, because concept number 2 and number 3 even, it's not plants but plant growth that absorb nutrients out the water, and that's what inhibits our water changes. And there's loads of little buds here. There's a little tiny bud there. I'm going to stick that straight in the sand for a laugh, because you know, I find stuff like that funny. So what we're doing here is we're building the engine. We haven't put our recycling plant in yet, but we can stop gravel back in the bottom, start feeding a bit heavier, letting that mold build up. You could even mix it into this substrate and start planting the substrate if you wanted in a little while when it's starting to establish. But you want to start feeding heavier, and then nutrients will get down into the substrate and start feeding the plants. Now this Ludwig here, this oil, it's one cool plant. It'll, as I say, it'll absorb that KH, and while the Ludwig here reckons is growing, and the Val and the LLD denser, it's stopping algae from growing. Damn. Now, if you've got a plant with no roots on, you want a bit of roots on it, floating like stem plants, you can just float them at the top of your tank, and it'll grow adventitious roots to try and anchor itself in the substrate. But as I say, mulm is good in this tank. it's plant food. So there's little bits of mulm down there, bits over here. Now that's all going to release the good stuff into the tank. You need you know, Tom Bart, it's all about that stuff, isn't it? Your macronutrients, your nitrite, your nitrogen, your phosphate and your potassium. Bacopa caroliniana, I've never had much luck with this one plant. For some reason I've got two different pieces of Bacopa when I set up the Walstad. One went ham and the other didn't do anything, and still hasn't done nothing to this day. It just existed, it doesn't grow, and the bottom leaves are stripped. But there's new growth at the top, tiny little bit of new growth on this one and this one, but it's not the same as the other one. The other one went mad. I don't get it, like the other ones. So it just shows you. So I'm going to smash a quick water change out so we can get some of that stuff out the water. I was watching the tank drain, check this out. We got a brown pot, baby. We know what brown pot means. It's tropical plants, and it's Crenum calamastratum. This is the smallest Crenum calamastratum I've ever seen. But I got one, and I'm excited. I can't wait to get that set up. And the Crenum Natans, I've got a exciting project going on. So let's just recap, right? So we've got some Amazon swords in the pot. Now, it's got soil in the bottom, so the roots can grow down into the soil, absorb all the nutrients out the soil. And if we get a few of these pots in here, we can plant some heavy root feeders in here. And they're all ready for our Walstad tank if we dare to our next tank. Like what I like to do is, I like to do a repot every 12 months or every 2 years. You know, like once these soils starting to get weak in nutrients. So the Cereal stones releasing KH into the water, the Ludwigia repens, the Vallisneria and the Elodea, they can use the KH as a source of carbon, and that source of carbon, once the CO2's depleted through the day, they can carry on growing, inhibit algae, and it's a hack for the Walstad. So everything in here is deliberate. We can get some crypts in this pot, we can get some more pots growing, and then we can, in 12 months time, once we've filled out all the pots, we can dirt the tank, cap it with 4mm, with 2 centimetres, 2.5 centimetres of 4mm grain size gravel, pea gravel, something like that, and then we can start planting all the plants that we've collected. In the meantime, we're letting them transition. There's some nice goodies in here which releasing macronutrients. It's all good, and then we've already got the aerial advantage going on. So let's start filling the bad boy back up. So let's check it out. We've got our Amazon swords at the back. We can put some more crypts in there, get some more pots in, get them round, get some heavy root feeders going. So there we go, we've got our Amazon sword at the back. We can put some more crypts in that pot or some more heavy root feeders, get some more pots in, bit of soil, and we're starting the recycling plant of our Walstad Method tank. And then, I mean, check that out. Planted it up, we've got some Elodea densa, we've got Vallisneria, we've got a bit of Ludwigia repens, this Cereal stone. I mean, I just tossed it in, guys, you know, you watch me do it. If you want to, you can take a bit more time to do this. Let's get some it's a bit contrived on it, that bit. So we'll just let it clear and have a look at it. And then we can start planting more stuff at the back. I want to cover that box. That's one of the reasons why I put the Vallisneria at the back. well, this will go crazy and this will start creating the engine. And then what we could do is let it all grow out, let everything convert, add some more plants to pots and get some more stems. We could get some Brazilian pennywort in here, all the cool stuff, Crypts, Lucins, Crypts Wendetii, and then get everything out there at the bottom. So then when we're ready, we can get everything out there at the bottom, and then we can get our cap on it, plant everything in the substrate, get our aerial advantage going, and then we're golden. We've got a Walstad tank. That saves having to fork out an absolute fortune to get going. We can just do it bit by bit. Bit of bonus footage for you. Got some Daphne for the tank, let's get that in the tank. Now normally I'd put it through a sieve, but if this is full of ammonia, then kapow, fresh in today. Now that Daphne is going to feed the fish. It's going to be in the system, and it's another little detrivore to help the system out if it stays alive. If not, fish food gets broken down into mold, doesn't it, and feeds the stuff. But there you go. Take care, guys. See you soon.